A wide variety of codes and standards are often consulted in the design and construction of tunnels. These codes and standards contain complex words and boring tables, often make beginners know that it is so but not why it is so. In this lesson, we will focus on comprehending the codes. Learn the classification of surrounding rock together. In combination with the on-site working conditions of the Nanjianshan Tunnel on the Tian-Ibama Expressway in Guangxi. Why do we classify surrounding rocks? The code stipulates that the surrounding rock is the rock and earth mass within a certain range around the tunnel having an effect on the tunnel trunk. The geological environment in which the rock and earth mass is located varies greatly, bringing a variety of problems for tunneling. There is no specific existing experience suitable for all geological environments and engineering environments. Therefore, for the convenience of engineering application, the surrounding rocks are classified based on their stability, so as to determine the support parameters and construction methods according to the grades. Based on this, let's summarize the purpose of surrounding rock classification. First, it can be used as the basis for selecting tunnel construction methods. Second, it can be used for scientific management and economic benefit evaluation. Third, it can be used to determine the load on the structure, loose load, and the type and size of the lining structure. Fourth, it can be used as the basis for formulating work quotas and material consumption standards. For example, if surrounding rock of lower grade is encountered during construction, the number of anchor rods can be increased. Blasting excavation with greater disturbance on surrounding rock can be replaced by partial mechanical excavation with less influence. So how do we classify surrounding rocks? The code stipulates that the classification of surrounding rock is jointly determined by the rock hardness and the stability of rock mass. The rock is composed of minerals and is part of the rock mass. For example, the stalactite in my hand. It was taken from the large karst cave in the Nanjianshan Tunnel as shown beside me. It is composed of calcium carbonate, etc. Very brittle, with moderate strength. The Nanjianshan Tunnel can be regarded as a huge rock mass. Since there is a large cave ahead and the stability of the rock mass in this area is not high, the stability of the rock mass in this area is not high on the whole. Certainly, rock strength should be considered for the classification of surrounding rocks, with the uniaxial saturated compressive strength RC as an important index. The higher the compressive strength, the higher the level of the surrounding rock, i.e. the harder the stone, the better the surrounding rock. The whole mountain can be visualized as a huge rock mass, which is composed of different types of rocks and adjacent structural planes. The structural planes cut the huge rock mass into rock units, structures of different sizes and shapes. Such common types as joints, fissures, faults and schistosity. When the tunnel passes through the structural plane, it is easy to cause sliding between adjacent structures due to insufficient friction, resulting in falling under low stability. Therefore, the more groups and types of structural planes, the lower the integrity of rock mass and the lower the grade of surrounding rock. Based on the above two aspects, the basic classification of surrounding rock in the code can be obtained. According to the level of stability, it is sorted by Roman numerals 1-6 based on the stability. The elastic longitudinal wave velocity of the surrounding rock is also added to the table. It is also an important index for the classification of surrounding rock. Its wave velocity can be determined by seismic wave advance prediction. The seismic wave is excited and generated in the borehole of the side wall of the tunnel with a small amount of explosive. The excitation holes are arranged along a straight line on one side of the tunnel wall. The receiver of the seismic wave is also placed in the hole, with one for each of the left and right tunnel walls. In case of any groundwater, karst caves, faults, etc. in the radiation range of seismic waves, there will be reflection, refraction, etc. The receiver will calculate the propagation velocity of waves in different media for measurement. The greater the velocity of the elastic wave, the fewer structural planes such as fissures in the rock mass, and the better the integrity of the surrounding rock. Basic classification of surrounding rock has not considered the adverse geological conditions. The code stipulates that the state of the groundwater inflow and the state of initial ground stress shall be considered for correction. The first is the impact of groundwater. In the karst landform area where Guangxi is located, groundwater is active and dissolves rock mass, which leads to the formation of dissolved fissure surfaces in the mountain body, forming many dissolved islands that are difficult to survey and locate accurately. The Shangang Tunnel in Leh County, Bays is a typical example. When the tunnel passes through the dissolved fissure surface, the free rock at the top of the cave loses its restraint and slips away from the parent rock. The accident eventually led to the death of 9 people. The next is the impact of initial ground stress. The initial ground stress refers to the interaction stress between rock masses in a natural state. A typical case is the Bayou Tunnel on the Sichuan-Tibet Railway, as it is located in the Qinghai-Tibet Plateau where plates collide and squeeze. The internal ground stress is extremely high. During excavation, the rock on the wall of the tunnel is crushed by the energy released by the huge ground stress, and the fragments are continuously splashed in the tunnel like shells. This huge and dangerous ground stress phenomenon is what we often call rock burst. Even so, our great tunnel builders have fully carried forward the tenacious spirit of craftsmen of great country, overcome harsh conditions such as rock burst, high temperature and altitude sickness, successfully built the world's first tunnel with severe rock burst on the plateau, unblocked the key blocking point of the Snowy Plateau's road to modernization, and built a new monument for China in tunnel construction on the Snowy Plateau. It can be seen that, in the above-mentioned surrounding rock sections with adverse geological conditions, the surrounding rock grade will decline. In this lesson, we learned the purpose and influencing factors of surrounding rock classification, but the specific classification of surrounding rock needs comprehensive analysis according to the actual situation of the project. I hope you can learn while contemplating and contemplate while comprehending in your future study.